Good afternoon and welcome to another in our program, Talk Sports, our weekend program, Saturday Sports Special. And on this weekend's program, we'll be speaking to uh, two officials regarding the Republic Bank Inter-Secondary Schools Athletics Championships in Grenada. The focus will be on track and field come next week. And it will be the first time since 2018 that the organized full-blown intersecondary schools track and field. And when we talk about intersecondary schools athletics, aka Intercol, there is a buzz. There has been a buzz over the past few weeks, certainly only tempered by a football game on Friday evening, but since after that final whistle, I think the focus now is on track and field, intersecondary schools track and field. There are basically two intersecondary schools track and field in the region that is so hyped. Boys and girls champs in Jamaica, and I can tell you, followed by Intercol in Grenada. And on this weekend's program, we welcome back again the chairman of the Grenada Secondary Schools Games Association, Brother Dominic Jeremiah. And for the first time, we'll have our guest, our new guest, I will say, but no stranger to track and field, Mr. Johnell Mitchell, who is the technical director, and he will speak a bit about the technical director of the games because Johnell just recently attended a workshop seminar in the Dominican Republic, I think, dealing with these things, and I'm certain he's well qualified, and Mr. Jeremiah will add to that to be in that position. Let me welcome the gentlemen on the program and say good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Let me make sure they are there. Yes, and I think we have Rudian as well. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Michael. Good afternoon to you, your co-host and my colleague, Mr. Jeremiah. To those of you who are viewing out there on Facebook, YouTube, we just want to say good afternoon to you. And it's indeed a pleasure to be here on Talk Sports this afternoon.
Right. And Brother Jeremiah?
Well, like Johnell, I want to express my warm greeting to all our listeners, faithful listeners of Talk Sports around the region, around the world. It's a pleasure to be here again. It's good to see Mr. Sylvan after a few weeks. And I look forward to our open conversation this evening.
Right. So it's and welcome again, Rudian, and certainly, Brother Jeremiah, it's a good way for you to lead us into that because we into the final days now. It's weekend, so as early as Monday morning, I think. Well, I shouldn't say Monday morning because I'm certain that this weekend work continues on preparations for the Intersecondary Schools Athletics Championship.
Well, I think you're reading the vibes correctly. We have been at it literally nonstop for the last couple of weeks. We had an important planning committee meeting on Thursday, which went way into the night as we cross-checked all our systems to make sure everything is in place. Just want to remind the listening public that the Intercol Games will be held March 28th, 29th, and 30th. And this is the 55th edition of the Intercol Athletic Championship. Our title sponsor, Republic Bank, together with other major sponsors, the NLA, Huggins, Flow, etc., Grenada Breweries. We want to recognize all our sponsors, Glenegg Water, who have remained faithful to the games and who understand the importance of Intercol for the development of Grenada, the development of our young people. We also want to recognize our officials, our coaches, the principals in all our secondary schools who are the proprietor of the games, and everyone who is working behind the scenes to ensure that this year's Intercol is a success. As you know, we go in central broadcast. The last time we were here, we had a conversation about the media and so on. And this year, all the systems have been put in place. I had a very fruitful meeting with all the announcers, both the in-house announcers and those who are in the central broadcast. As a matter of fact, we have been talking continuously over the last few days as we try to set things up for Intercol. We have launched our new Intercol website. It is being updated as we speak, as we try to make it as user-friendly and a source of easy access and relevant information for all those who would be covering the games. So a lot is happening. Both Mr. Mitchell and I, Johnell and I, we were involved in the meetings with the coaches, the technical meetings, and of course the officials at the stadium last week. I have been around these meetings for many years, and I really enjoy the camaraderie and the not just the excitement, but the cooperation and the willingness to ensure that we lift our standards and we get it right. Because the theme is, while we care for our athletes, we continue with the theme of caring for our athletes. We also want to focus on the sub-theme of making sure that we lift the standard of the games in every area. So we're ready to go, I think. You know, we have a few little things that we need to attend to, but we hope and pray that all would be well. We have had a great week of promotions on all the networks across Grenada, radio and television. And another focus is ensuring that the game is safe and secure. So we have been announcing that and encouraging our students in all our schools. I know the principals have been talking at the assemblies to ensure that the students understand clearly what is required of them, that the vendors understand clearly, the paying public and the patrons who will come to the game, that they understand clearly that this is about Grenada, and we all have a responsibility to work together to make sure that the game is a success.
Right.
Michael, just before you go, Mr. Jeremiah, just on the same topic. So the website that you're putting up, is it going to be live stream and live results?
Well, we have a feature in it that we're trying to resolve as we speak. If you have access to the site, and I could make that available to you after the show, we have a feature there for live results. If you go to one of the fields, you click on it, it says, you know, we will come live on Tuesday the 28th, meaning that the goal is to try to provide live results because we're trying to connect the site to the Meet Manager system so we could get live results. If we can't do it that way, we'll have to come up with a creative way to ensure that the information is posted on the site during the activity.
Okay. Yeah, that's a nice introduction, Brother Jeremiah, and I think it covered quite a bit, but we still have some more to discuss, certainly. So I probably will have Johnell give us an idea of the technical side in terms of your discussions with the coaches and other officials in preparation for the big day.
All right. So thank you once again, Michael. And as Mr. Jeremiah said, we've had some fruitful meetings coming out of last Wednesday, that was the deadline. A matter of fact, for declaration for the first day of Intercol, which is Tuesday. Coming out of the meeting with the coaches, we reminded them of our expectations. They had questions, they have queries and all of that. And I believe it was fruitful, it was very interactive. Likewise, we engaged all officials, reminding them of their duties, reminding them that at the end of the day, we have to ensure that each of our athletes given a fair opportunity to compete and to compete in a manner where they would be able to ensure that the results gained is what they've been putting the training and the practice into over all of these months. Now, you would want to appreciate the fact that Intercol, as it stands, is not just to us here about the athletes on the day, but it is a household name. It is a community event. It is deeply embedded in the hearts and in the lives of each and every Grenadian who has graced our secondary schools. And whether or not you've gone through a secondary school here in Grenada, there is some form of allegiance through relation in one way or the other. So it is important that we ensure that a product that we're going to be putting out there is of great quality going on there. And especially as Mr. Jeremiah spoke to that central broadcast where the event will be streamed live and it will be on pay-per-view. And having an event on pay-per-view, we have to ensure that the gaps and all of the technical aspect of it is well taken care of. If I were to just dive into some more of the technical aspect of it just for a moment, Michael, we have somewhere about 76 events spread across the 3 days. What makes this Intercol interesting is simply this. It is an Intercol that you cannot miss because every single day we have some quality fields of track and field. When I say quality, it speaks to that. On day one, we have all 400 meters. All of our finals in the 400s are going on day one. And as we've looked at what has happened throughout the season, through some of the meets that the Grenada Athletics Association they've put on, we've seen some quality performances coming through from our 400-meter athletes. Some of them, the character standards in Grenada, we believe, is usually one of the highest, and they were able to make the standard through those things. So can you imagine the level of competition that's going to be there on day one? Likewise, day two. When I reflect on day two, we have at least 5 boys running sub 22. The fifth place ran 21.93 thereabout. And all of those events are going to go on day two. Then we have the 100 meters on day one. And that's going to be infused with some field events and all of that. So we are saying that Intercol 2021, based on the nature and the way it's designed, each day is going to be highly, highly, highly competitive, Michael. So we anticipate that the level of competition among the schools is going to be significantly great. Added to that, we have 2 events that we've introduced, and that's our combined events in the octathlon for boys and the heptathlon for girls. As a public, we want to appreciate the fact that Grenada, in recent times, more so, we've been doing exceptionally well in the combined events. When we think of Kurt Felix and his brother Lyndon Victor in more recent times, and we know of the exploits of Lyndon and how well recognized he is on the world circuit. He's performed exceptionally well throughout, and he's also medaled at the highest levels for Grenada. And it is also within that context, seeing that we have a niche in that area, we realize it is also important to start to harness that talent that we have among our young men and young women who are quite capable of performing at the highest level in the combined events. So this year we have those 2 events, and those 2 events will be running on day 1 and on day 2, and we have all measures and everything put in place to ensure that these 2 events are successful. So all in all, I believe that Intercol 2023, from the technical standpoint, we are ready to kick off. We are ready to go. There's one event that we've added, and this is for the special education community, the schools, the special ed schools. So right after the opening ceremony on day 1, Michael, just after 2:30 thereabout, we have a 60 meters where these athletes in the special education school will be showcased. So we're asking the public to also come out there and support and show that we are in tune with what's happening. And if we're going to speak the language of inclusion and ensuring that all of these persons are taken care of, we are making sure as an Intercol committee that we are doing this year and moving forward.
Okay. Thank you very much. And there's one question, and I think I put up someone is asking Mr. Jeremiah, and I think I may be correct. Where can one see the schedule of events prior to the start of the meet? And I think day 1 schedule, if I'm not mistaken, is already on the website, right?
Yeah, correct. That is correct.
Yes,
That's
they
correct.
want.
And then during the weekend, and certainly by Monday, if there is any updating of the schedule, that will be also posted on the website. But we deliberately put up the schedule there so that persons would begin to have access to it.
Okay, right. Because I know during the week, just last week, there are individuals who were reaching out to me on various occasions. I don't know if it was a quiz or whatever that was going on, but they were asking me certain questions regarding Intercol in the past, and I had to do some research,
Right.
and let them know that I think it was up to 2018 we had official, quote unquote, official results because there was no in 2019, 2020, 21, and last year, while there was something, I'm not sure if it is recorded officially because of scale down. Am I
No,
correct, Mr. Gerald?
it will go into the history books, but
Mm.
we're not going to use it to do
Yes,
comparative analysis.
analysis, right?
We will have to definitely go back to 28, and we said that from the inception of that special intercall that it's going to be referred to as a special intercall, but
Mm.
in terms of the statistics and doing comparative analysis, we will definitely have to go back to 2018. Now, in addition to that, you will see updating on the site very soon. We are attempting to see if we can put in all the results, final results from about 2012, if we can find them, 2012 up to about 2018, so that persons who are doing the research, they would have that as another resource to be able to find information to make comparative analysis.
Okay, but what I can tell you folks is that if we go back to 2018, defending champions with St. Joseph Convent, St. Andrew in the girls,
Correct.
and the Grenada Boys Secondary School in the boys category, and some useful information in terms of documenting champions since 1965, with the Anglican High School and the GBSS, and no doubt Anglican High School leading the girls in terms of the many championships they won, and the St. Andrews Anglican Secondary School, SAS, just ahead of the GBSS in terms of the boys, some useful data that probably can pass on for the website, because I think
if you check the website, you will see we have some general information on the championships over the years that has already been posted on the site.
Okay. Rudian, before I come to you, I want Johnell just to give us an idea of the certification you recently did in the Dominican Republic, I think it was, if I'm correct. How important was that to your new assignment? And I say new, I mean, it's not anything new to you because you have been doing these things for quite a while, but in terms of this big assignment, I should say, because the Intercol Championships 2023 will be no other than probably previous years, but we expect all the excitement because there is this fever among the athletes to compete, after 2019, 2020, 21, and even last year where, there were, some who said they can, but it wasn't so much compulsory because some competed, some didn't, and things like that. So this year we seem to be full house, all schools, all athletes are eager to go as much as the spectators themselves. So tell me, in the context of what you just accomplished in the Dominican Republic, how that could be reflected in the championships next week.
Critical, Michael, very critical. And just before I answer that question, though, as I said, full house. We have some 24 of our 25 secondary schools participating in this year's Intercol. Gateway Christian Academy is one of the new schools coming on board as a private secondary school. Likewise, the St. George's Institute is their first full year of Intercol. Now, as you so correctly said, I recently attended a technical delegates course in the Dominican Republic. And at that course, you had you had the best minds in track and field in the NACA region when it comes to officiating. And we're talking North America, which includes both Canada and USA and the Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean, likewise Jamaica, Bahamas. So we had some of the best minds sitting there in that technical delegate course to ensure that we have the best track and field events coming out of each country. Now, the truth about it is a lot of the things that we learn are things that we already know, but it has enhanced our capabilities in ensuring that we know how rather to deliver a quality product. So something as simple as gaps within your events. How do you schedule your events in such a way that there are no gaps? How do you sync with your medal presentation? How do you sync with your announcers? How do you sync with ensuring that you have a clean infield to make sure that the quality going out there is something that would uplift the standards of the games? How do you best apply the technical rules? So all of these things they fall within the context. A matter of fact, and Mr. Jeremiah would have an appreciation for that. While I was up there, and we were looking at camera placements and all of that for best reviews, I called him immediately and said, Mr. Jeremiah, we need to talk to Richie Olivier. We need to institute cameras at our bends and all these other places to make sure that we have proper coverage. And that's where now we are having our video referee for the very first time. Yes, of course, we've had video playback, but we never had one set aside doing video refereeing for events. So Cyril Cox, who is one of our most experienced and technical officials, he would be our video referee for these games. And we will be able to collect camera angles from all over to ensure that if there are infringements or anything like that, all of these things are well captured. Additionally, in the long jump, within the rule change, where the spikes does not have to make an impression in the plasticine, but once it is over and has not made an impression, it is considered a fall jump. And even on that area, we'll be having video coverage to ensure that the technology is available to assist our officials and all of that. So coming out of the DR, it has already opened up my eyes to a number of things as to how we can improve on the quality of the events that we put out there. And having an appreciation for it going pay-per-view, we want to make sure that we satisfy our diaspora, those who are looking on the outside, that the product that they get, Michael, is something of highest quality. Because it's all well and good to have an epic event, as Intercol, I believe, will be this year, but the quality that goes with it. Yes, well, it's about care for the athletes on the track, ensuring that we have the meet running and everything like that. But we also have to understand that we have a paying public who is looking on. So we also have to satisfy their needs. Also, the timely start and finish of the events. So the smooth running of the events. If you're thinking about ensuring that we finish on time, we have to be able to follow that schedule. So it's a matter of how we can best work with all the stakeholders who are involved in the process to ensure that we have an event that is smooth and satisfactory for everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know for that, and I'm certain it's welcome news for you, Mr. Jeremiah, because it's important that you corral all the expertise, to make the championships what it should really be, because it has to live up to the expectation, not just to the sponsors, not just to the athletes, not just to the spectators, but to live up to its name, Mr. Jeremiah? I think you're muted.
Yeah, I want to endorse that because we have been talking about various ways to focus on trying to improve the product. And a lot of the decisions that we have made this year were deliberately made with a view to trying to ensure that Intercol continues to develop and continues to grow. I was very encouraged in the meeting with the announcers. The disposition of everyone who were at that meeting, how open everybody was to learn and to grow and to develop. because even some of the most seasoned media practitioners there who were part of the conversation clearly exhibited an openness to learn and to grow. And I saw that also in the technical meeting and in the meeting with the coaches, that we kept challenging each other that it is important that they read, it's important that they watch, events and with an eye to understanding the technical issues in these events. I challenge the coaches to make sure that they have a thorough knowledge of the technical manual, so that they're in a better position to be able to guide their programs, guide the students who are the athletes who are participating. So if we are all, collectively embracing the need for us to lift the standard, I think over time we will see Intercol moving in the direction that we wanted to move in. And I think when we made the suggestion about going with the combined events, we had to convince many persons why that was necessary. Because come 2024, it is our hope that the full schedule of huddles will be back. And, over time, within reason, try to tap into some of those other events that we have not included in Intercol to date. So hence the reason why the 3 days of Intercol is important. It's not only just for the athlete, the care of the athlete in terms of rest and so on, but it is also about how to gradually and thoughtfully, strategically grow the event to international standards.
Right. Rudian, because I have some comments coming in there that I want you guys to ask about Rudian.
Yeah, definitely. Everything sounds so great. Mr. Jeremiah, you guys have this thing down pack, and I believe that it's going to be smooth. I mean, I competed at Intercol, and I don't expect it to be the same back then to today. And every year, as you go, you improve. The technical director, there may be some hiccups, and those things happen. I mean, we host one of the biggest high school meet out here in North America, and it's the same thing. We have hiccups too, but it's how we adapt, right? And year after year, we do the same thing because, I mean, when we are hosting the championship, it's a year planning. It's not just, the 6 months or 3 months. It's a full year planning. 3 years ago, we hosted cross country, and we start planning 3 years ago because we know we hosted. So we just put things in place, and the fact that you get the training and you're bringing it out and people are welcoming it, because there are changes. All the things you talk about with long jump. I'm a long jump official. I am the long jump official for high schools in Ontario. And I have to know those rules. I have to go to the same meetings. I have to be trained on those things to know what it is. And then when I come back, I have to train and coach those officials who is overseeing those events. So it's very important. So it's really good that that these things is that you guys are really impacting, all the technical stuff, because if we are going to be under the IAAF rules, we have to follow everything. And everything that IAAF goes by in terms of starting, because of how we start, how you finish, schedule, the whole 9 yards, right?
Really,
yes.
Really, we don't have IAAF again, eh? We have all athletics.
Ah, come on. Okay, so yeah, definitely. I'm pretty to follow those rules. Everything have to be in plaque, and with the coaches have to understand those rules. Because they cannot come in and when someone gets false start, or when you call a fault for someone, they say, well, why? And want to know. They have to know the rules. And then it's their job to impact the rules to the athletes and let them know what it is. So it's very good. Even going to the special needs. I mean, I teach special needs for almost 15 years. I know the impact it is to have those kids get involved. And I know, you understand, I have an athlete that I coach who been to 2 Olympics, Paralympics. Who is special needs. Not special need, but she is impeccable to one legs, right? So I know the feeling of those things, and I know what's it like, and the importance of them being involved, being a part of this. So that's really good, and I applaud you guys for including that. And it's going to be future to come. It will be much better. They're not going to just have one event; they might have two events. In the near future. So no, I'm really applaud you guys, and even the new events bringing in. I do would like to see a mixed 4x4 for next year. But hopefully you guys keep that in mind, and it could be on day one, but keep that in mind, because I believe, and we spoke about it. We get into the combined events because of how our Grenadians are doing, and it's good to introduce it to the rest of our young athletes so that there's a future for them in the sport. But I also believe that Grenada have us another chance in a relay. We could be the mixed 4x4. I believe Grenada could have a mixed 4x4 in the World Championship and the Olympic Games, and he has to start somewhere. So it'll be nice to see it starting in the Intercol Games with you guys, and then in the near future could be bright for us. So let's continue what you guys are doing, man. You guys are doing very awesome. And we have some questions we're gonna just go on with.
Yeah, there is one comment, and I want to speak on it. It has to do with the broadcast, and I want to take it on. Mike, you have a good friend, that's Michael Sherman, but let me just put it up first, and I'll tell you why I'll handle it. My 2 pence on the introduction of live streaming for Intercol 2023 should have been a softer transition. That is, have a trial introduction for 2023 and pay-per-view in 2024. Mike, let me tell you, and I'm speaking here as one who has advocated for the central broadcast for many, many years, probably more than 10 years ago. In fact, I wrote a commentary about that. It could have been probably 15 years ago. But because, and Mr. Jeremiah will know that, that over the years, it was all Tom, Dick, and Harry coming saying, whatever they want, while, I'm for one for, freedom of information, freedom of press, blah, 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 and things like that. So it comes with responsibility. I always see that. It comes with a level of responsibility. And I'm telling you, we have been bombarded with trash over the years regarding Intercol coverage, right? And it is high time that we move to the next level. But in addition to that, we do have, when it comes to the production, the technical aspect of it, we do have what it takes to put it at that level. All we are saying in this context, and which the Intercol officials have agreed and have done, is that we'll have a central broadcast, meaning one set of commentators, so they're singing the same song, the same tune, okay? And the feed will be available for, for broadcast, okay? It's done all over. Come on, whether it's, I don't want to do too many comparisons, whether it's Jamaica, blah, 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 and things like that. So that is what is done. Whether it's Sportsmark that has the thing, or Television Jamaica, it's one broadcast feed. I know everybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry, coming and saying what they want, and, it's SAS, it's GBSS, it's PBC. No, we want something proper. And I think we are capable of doing it, but we just have to put things in place. And I think that has been done, and we are seeing it. If you have been following some of the sporting events in recent months, even the quality of the broadcast, it's up there. Second to none in some of it. In fact, a number of our technical people, production personnel, were used in the broadcast, the television broadcast last night. They were used, Richie Oliver and his guys. They were used for that. So it's not fair to say that we're not really there yet. I think we are there. And there's nothing about a trial or a transition. No, I don't agree with that. We have been trying for quite a while. Yeah.
I want to weigh in here a little bit. First of all, I want to express my personal gratitude to all the media houses who, over the years, have contributed in one way or another to the development of Intercol. I think it would be remiss of me if I did not posit that as a fact that there are lots of persons who are involved in broadcasts over the years who have contributed to the development of Intercol. The GBN, the GIS, the MTV, all the radio stations who have contributed in their own way. I think it's important that we recognize our people. We recognize the contributions that they have made. We recognize the talent that we have. However, as we continue to grow and develop as a people, from time to time we have to make changes. And I think what Intercol has been doing and will continue to do is to listen to the public. We don't think that we know it all. We have made many changes over the years, and even this year, to improve the quality of the games. I think we had an issue with categories at one point. We worked on that diligently this year. I'm making the point now that the point system as we have it will change next year, because the public has been clamoring for that to happen. But you can't make all the changes at the same time. It has to be incremental, it has to be gradual, and there are times we may make a change, and on second thought, we realize that probably that was not the best thing to do. And we have a lot of lovers of track and field and of sports, not only in Grenada but around the world, who make very objective contribution to suggestions as to how things could change and develop. So the central broadcast is something that we have been talking about and trying to figure out how to do it over the years. And this year we said, this is the moment for us to make that change. We have had to have conversation with persons in the media. And it is not only about the fact that, we have had various persons trying to commentate over the years, but how do we consolidate the best that we have so that we can have a better product? And that is not only for Intercol, but that would be true for football. I saw the Cricket Association did something this year, kind of consolidating a central broadcast for cricket. Is the best that I've heard in a long time, outside of, Pastor Stevenson Worm. And I'm seeing, as you correctly said, I'm seeing there are other entities, other sporting disciplines that are doing the same thing. We saw the experiment with the primary school games, the national champs, and we're not going to get it perfect immediately, but over time, it's going to get better and better. I begin to see evidence already that it's getting better. So GBN and GIS will still be able to get a feed from the central broadcast. So we're not depriving the nation of access to coverage of the games. They're still going to get it. It's just that at this juncture, we're moving in the direction of trying to see how we can use the best, the most talented among us to create a broadcast experience that would be not only regionally, but internationally accepted. So I just wanted to posit these points because in growing and in developing, as I said, we don't know it all. I have learned a lot, and I'm continuing to learn, and I'm continuing to read, and I'm continuing to listen. And as I said earlier, that's the disposition I sense in our meeting with the announcers. There were no one there just trying to clamor their own way and do it their own way. There was a listening that I'd never heard before among persons trying to see how we can improve the craft, improve the quality of what we do, and make it better. No man is an island, and we have talent here. All we have to do is to harness the talent and make the best of all that we do.
And if I may add on that, if I may say, remember the first thing I said, there may be some hiccups. And the hiccups
Right.
could come in broadcasting. Hiccups can come in everywhere. But if you don't do it and if you don't have the hiccups, then you wouldn't be able to fix those things. Because you want perfect. This is not the world championships, and the world championship have their problems as well. So everywhere you go, they have their little hiccup, but they try to fix it as they go. And that's really what this is, because if most of these people know where Intercol is coming from to where it's going to be now, you have to be grateful. You have to be happy that there is some movement coming in, where especially broadcasting, where it's a lot easier, because most of us now, we are out here in the diaspora. That's where we are. And we want to be able to see and listen and know the athletes, and not only by school names. So because some of these young athletes out there, their parents is out here, they want to hear the kid's name. So it'll be nice to do that, right? But at the same time, there might be little hiccups. The rest might be too fast. There might be a whole pack, and they might miss someone. Those things may happen, but we'll get it right. And go back to something again. This is your sport. It's your meat. I'm just going to sound a little harsh a little bit, but whatever rules and whatever you choose to do, it's your sport. You are grateful to involve everyone else to get the feedback. You don't have to. You could run the meet how you want to, but you see it as being a benefactor. You see it as being a benefactor to make the meet and make it better for the future of the Intercol games. So you take the feedback of people out there to make it better. And the feedback that you're getting has been grateful, because you have made changes, and it is going to be a great meet. And I believe it's going to be awesome. But I believe at the same time, you have to be, you are doing great. You are doing great, and I believe the meet is going to be good.
It may be a bit harsh to say it's your meet. I don't think it's necessarily your meet. I think Mr. Jeremiah understands that it's something that is generic to Grenadians. It has developed over the years, and what they are trying to do is to ensure that they put out a quality product. And just to wrap on this whole issue of the broadcasting, even within the last week or so, I've been chatting with some of the quote-unquote commentators, those who were there. And some of the things I've been letting them know that they need to do is to familiarize themselves. Because it's easier, I'm telling you, it's not hard to do. Familiarize yourself with the athletes, okay? Between now, and that was up to last week, then and now, athletes are basically preparing. I don't think there's any, championships going on. So you can, whether it's call the school, call the coach, get a word from the coaches or some of the athletes, drop some notes. I even said, listen, on the day, okay, you get to the stadium, you try to interact with some of the coaches, some of the athletes, get a feeling of what it's like to compete. Some of them might be competing for the first time. What are your expectations? So when you go on air, there's something for you to relay, you can talk about. When I spoke to John earlier in the morning, and, John was really looking forward to a good jump, and good to see that he got that jump, and he was looking at least for 15 meters, and, he got 16, this is conversational, and it's not all about, and SAS and GBSS and SAS, and no, it's more than that, it's a lot more than that, and it's easy to do. You just need to get yourself thinking about what you have to do. Start speaking with the coaches, even the officials. You can start speaking to them, taking some notes. Get there, So I've been just passing on some of those things to those, to some of those. Whether or not they take it seriously is up to them. But I still believe that we aim for overall a very good secondary schools championships. Johnell, going back to you on day one in particular, and getting the sense that folks cannot afford to miss any day because it appears that every day comes with its own drama and own tension, excitement, and anticipation. Talk about day one.
Michael, you're so correct about that. Folks, we don't know how best to say it, but you cannot afford to miss any day of Intercol 2023. As highlighted on day one, we are culminating. Our last event on day one is the 400 meters boys under 20. If you sat at the Grenada National Athletics Association National Champs a few weekends ago on day one, I believe it was, the 400 meters boys under 20. Tegan Peterkin, Rikael Telemac, Elisha Williams, and quite a few of the others there. When we compare our 200s, for example, and the 400s over the years, the last time we had such quality fields coming out was when we had Kirani and Rondell Bartholomew. And they were the only two within that category who were competing among themselves, and everybody else were a far distance apart. Take, for example, Rikael Telemac in the 400 meters, character standard timer is 47.80. And that young man was able to run for us a 46.97. Likewise, we had Elisha Williams, he running something about 47.89 thereabout. And we had some other close times. This is what you'll be missing on day one if you're not there for the first day of Intercol. Shephonia Houston in the girls under 20, blistering in the 400 meters likewise. A matter of fact, she was able to qualify in the heats of the national champs for the character. I'm telling you. And when you miss day one, you would not be seeing them do that 400 meter on day two again. So the quality of the field is exceptional. We have people like even in the field, Raven Telesford and Cameron Thomas, Serena Alexander, throwing the javelin. And these are some of our athletes who are going on to character. So again, you miss them. You will not even get that chance to see the quality that we are sending to character coming out of those things. So to the public, you can't afford to miss anything. Each day is of equal importance when you think of this 2023 Intercol Games.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it comes with the bragging rights because schools looking to get their points. It's not just about the points, as something I would say. It's to see our athletes develop, to see the quality of athletes we have, and because in the long run, some of these athletes are those who will be flying the flag, you know, and this is the platform for them because it's not just about their schools, but remember with the sort of broadcast and things like that, so it means that the world will be looking at them, the region will be looking at them. Certainly, they will have an interest for some of the in the region because some of the athletes are preparing for the Caribbean Games, you know. So whether it's Barbados or whether it's Jamaica or whoever it is, they know that Grenada comes with some quality, quality, and they want to know who are these athletes, you know, and if they can look and see and have an idea of who are the athletes, especially and you say when we come to the throws, remember the throws, Grenada has always been dominated, right? Yeah. And speaking about the throws, it has been a concern over the years regarding the coverage of the field events. How do we plan to tackle that problem? Because for some people, it's all on the track, the 100, the 200, and possibly the 400. But when it comes to the field events, even though we have seen there has been an uptick of interest since the likes of the Anderson Peters and others, we are seeing the more coverage of the javelin and and other throwing events. How do we ensure that equal coverage?
Before Johnell comes in, I just want to posit here that this was one of the items on the agenda that we discussed at the announcers meeting. How to ensure that the events on the field receive broader coverage on the days of Intercol. So I think you can expect to see greater coverage of these events in the days ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Jeremiah, for that input there. And of course, Michael, this is something that we've been discussing. How do we give the field the kind of prominence that it deserves? Because yes, as you've said, we concentrate on the track events. And many times our field athletes come out there, there's no introduction. The public doesn't know who they are. The people in the central broadcast, they don't know who they are. So one of the things we are aiming at doing, and we've spoken to it, even with the provider, is to ensure that for every field event, we have our athletes throwers or jumpers, they're introduced, just like how we introduced those on the track. So we are working on that. Additionally, as I say, coverage. So on the field, we would have roving cameras on the ground. We'd have someone there with the wireless camera moving around in these events, and some of the broadcasters and announcers would be a part of those events. Additionally, in races, for example, where you may probably even have the 3,000, the 5,000, we have also decided even during those periods, our field will be featured. So while the 3,000, which is a 7.5 lap, the 5,000, 12.5 laps going on, we can interchange and ensure that we get that coverage. Likewise, we've just finished running a 100 meters or so. We can flip back into the field. So we are trying to see how we can get the pieces of the puzzles together to ensure that all areas are given some level of great highlight. Of course, as Ruyan said, there will be challenges, and we are trying to ensure that we put measures in place to mitigate against them. And it's going to be a growing experience. So we are going to reassure you, the field lovers. To us, track and field is not about what's happening on the track, but also on the field. We are going to also try our very best to ensure that there are some levels of coverage where the field athletes will definitely be highlighted.
Okay then. All right. Thank you very much. And let's just take a little pause there. We'll be back in a second.
Grenada's premier junior track and field event is here again with a bang. The Republic Bank Inter-Secondary School Championship is back at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. You cannot afford to miss the intense rivalry amongst all our secondary school athletes on the field and in the track. It's Republic Bank Intercol 2023. The 55th Intercol Championship takes place on March 28th, March 29th, and March 30th, starting at 9 a.m. and ending 6 p.m. each day. Be there to experience the special attractions and more. Main pavilion, day 1, $15. Day 2, $20. Day 3, $30. Season tickets at $60. Secondary stand, day 1, $10. Day 2, $15. Day 3, $25. Bleachers, day 1, $5. Day 2, $10. And day 3, $15. Season tickets, $25. Children under 12, $15. Main pavilion and $5. Secondary pavilion. Tickets will be available at the gates and from Go To Fest. It's the 55th Intercol Championships. Bring your school, bring your past students, bring your families to 3 days of competitive track and field. You will not forget this one. Be there.
All right, folks, and listen, don't tell me that the cost is too expensive. I mean, I'm reading some of the comments here. Listen, this is a steal, okay? This is a steal. For the quality of track and field at the development stage you're getting there, this is a steal. When you have to pay $800 for VIP for blah, 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 and things like that, so you don't complain. Don't complain about my Intercol and my junior track and field athletes competing, right? You know, if you don't want to go, just don't go, okay? Don't question my thing about, you know, the cost or whatever it is. When you have to, you know, dip in your pocket and pull out $300 and $400 for VIP for party and things like that, so you don't complain, right? This is our future. This is our future.
Let me just add something here. Michael, complaining about the prices of nothing. These athletes, I'm telling you this, we have seen an insurgence of clubs in recent times. And these athletes are making great investments in paying these coaches to coach them. So what you're getting here, it's after great investment by these athletes, and they have put in a lot. So giving back to the sport and giving back to these athletes to come and show support. I mean, the price here is nothing for the class and the quality that's going to come out of it.
Well, I said it's a steal, you know, I mean, and I mean, if I was smart, if I was them and I was smart enough, I probably was buying 4, you know. I didn't just buy 1, I buy 4 and give away, you know, because it's a steal, you know. I wish you had family packages, you know, but, you know, so basically, it's
one last thing, Michael. One last thing on that. The tickets, the $25 area there, that's only for the students. So the public, those of you listening, it's only students. That's bleacher prices. The bleacher prices is only for the students. Paying public would be secondary and the main stand.
And the main stand. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Right. And Mr. Jeremiah, I assume that in terms of the security and all these things, because you have been meeting with various stakeholders over the past few weeks in preparation, security always be a major issue when it comes to the hosting of these sort of events, the mega events, and especially with a school event, because we consider the Intersecondary School Athletics Championships as school outside of the walls, the four walls of the, so therefore it is a school day, as you will say, and we expect the students to be on their best behavior, good decorum, deportment, etc., etc. But generally, security has always been an issue, a concern, and especially the post track and field period, after the championships, ensuring that the students and the athletes return home safely. Give us an update as to the preparations in terms of the security.
Well, you're right on the nerve center of our conversations and our discussions certainly over the last few weeks. As you are aware, the Royal Grenada Police Force is part of our planning committee. And we don't just only sit in a room to discuss the security arrangements. We actually go to the stadium and walk around the stadium and try to literally identify and anticipate what some of the security challenges could be. And as a result, put structures in place. So ASP Richards, ASP Rodney, and others from the Royal Grenada Police Force have been integrally involved in helping us come up with the security plan. So we're going to have a robust presence of police officers at the games, and they would be augmented by the presence of private security firms, ensuring that all our students and all our patrons are safe, because the safety of the games is paramount. And so issues that have to do with the whereabouts and the presence of students before, during, and after the games were discussed in great detail. As a matter of fact, we had a principals meeting at the National Stadium about 3 weeks ago, and the number one item on the agenda had to do with security. And principals were able to basically participate in the conversation as to what is it that they would like to see to ensure that the students are safe. I think we're going to introduce a few new things, particularly around the perimeter of the stadium. One of the things we're introducing is a soft ticket check. So if you don't have a ticket, you can't really come into the outer
perimeter
of the stadium. So
right.
Among other things. But in addition to that, principals have been talking to their students. We were, as I indicated earlier, we were on just about every television. We were on Beyond the Headlines. We were on MTV. We were on GIS, Catholic Communication, Boss FM, Power FM, Karikou station. I mean, we were just everywhere in the past week, spreading the word. Yes, Intercol is coming, and we want persons to come and patronize Intercol as usual. But an important aspect, an important word that we wanted to get out there was the need for us to ensure that persons who come deport themselves properly. The vendors, as part of their contract, there are things that they cannot do, can and cannot do, and those things are going to be policed heavily. So we've done a lot, and we want to continue in the days that remain to remind persons that if this product is going to be pay-per-view streamed live, and as one of the announcers said, this is now an international product, an international production, international games. It means, therefore, that all of us as Grenadians, students, parents, the general public, we all have a responsibility to make sure that Grenada is projected to the international arena as a place where we have good order, that we can enjoy, an event and not mar it in any way. And that's what I have been telling my students. Let us be patriotic and ensure, like we did in football last night, or we did in other national events that we have, that when we have these big events, we have a greater obligation to ensure that we conduct ourselves in a manner that others would want to come to Grenada, to visit Grenada, and to, spend time on this beautiful rock. So we've done a lot, and Mr. Mitchell could confirm how much we have done in this last week.
Well, and that's good to know. I had something I want to speak about and ask about there. But then our good friend Ray Roberts put up this comment. Oh, how great it will be to see one of the two Karaku schools celebrate being champions at the end of the games. But
that is possible.
and I'm glad Ray raised that, because I want to bring in that there something here, but I want to exclude Mr. Jeremiah for reasons because it's been considered one of the most interesting and highly anticipated, intersecondary schools championships. Reports are that the tension high among the schools, both boys and girls champion, could be decided on the final event. Let's just put it as that. But here's the scenario, and I want Johnell to chime in there. And I am saying why I want to exclude Mr. Jeremiah, because among the girls, they're saying that the Anglican High School as the defending champions, St. David's Catholic Secondary School. I'm hearing of Boca Secondary School, McDonald College, and St. Joseph Convent, St. George's. Now, for the boys, we're hearing the likes of the same SAS, GBSS, St. David's Catholic Secondary School, and even PBC in the mix. Johnell, and that's why I wanted to leave out Mr. Jeremiah for now. Johnell, give us a comment on the sort of projection. I mean, and from the technical side, because you have been seeing the athletes competing and things like that. Nothing. I probably give us an unfiltered, unbiased assessment going into the championships. And for disclaimer, Mr. Mitchell is the technical director. I am asking him to just give his personal, opinion and a personal assessment of what he has been seeing. And there's nothing in terms of, fixing or whatever it is like that. You have the floor, Mr. Mitchell.
All right, Michael, and interesting. And Ray, the comment is welcome. The Sister Isles, they always come down, and the competition coming from the Sister Isles is always great. And you can never ever take the two schools of them for granted. They usually sprint some surprises in the field and even on the track. You see, the thing is, a lot of our spectators, they have not really seen much of them this year because they have not participated in a lot of the events on island as they've traditionally done. And I think it's a matter of getting back into that place. We had just a few of them at the national champs, and some of the mini meets, we didn't get to see as much of them. But here in Grenada, the general public, they've been a part of the developmental meets put on by the Grenada Athletics Association. So they have seen many of these athletes representing most of the schools in the surrounding. And Michael, as you rightly said, all of the names that you are hearing there, they can be spoken of. And this is why these names can be spoken of. I alluded to the whole fact of clubs a while ago. And what we've noticed, for example, with Boca, with Charles and the others there, they have a great cadre of athletes. And these athletes that they have quite a few of the Boca students. And you might be surprised, they are from GBSS, they are from Wesley College. And likewise with Fusion and Cato going there, you have the PBC in the mix, you have the Convent in the mix. You go to South City Rising Stars, you see Anglican High School and the GBSS and some other areas. You go to Bowls. We have a number of clubs. And what we have noticed, that there has been a great spread of athletes throughout all of these places. And you can't leave
even aces, Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where I was going. I was going to St. David's with Trailblazers. And if you go to the north with Wayne Maxwell and some of the people he's been working with there, and even SAS, they're right back up there in the mix. Mr. Andel from St. Patrick's, they've been working with both secondary, primary, and other students around. So the athletes they've been participating. And if you followed carefully in some of the school sports, we noticed that those athletes who have been a part of the clubs, they have been performing and they have been performing well. We have been able to track the development over the entire season, culminating in what we've seen at the national champs. So it was not the GBSS, it was not the SAS, it was not the PBC, it was not just Boca. It was a whole wide range of athletes excelling because of the training that they've been getting from the coaches coming through the programs that they've been involved in. So my anticipation here, as you so rightly said, 4x4s can determine who our winners are. Because I believe it's going to be that competitive, it's going to be that close. And the way the events are set up right now, I believe it gives the athletes enough time for recovery. So an athlete running the 4 and the 2 is not bombarded by having to do too much again, because I can come and concentrate on 800 meters on one day, qualification and finals. On day 2, I can concentrate on 400 meters, qualification and finals. And if I have to do a relay also for qualification, that's just 500 meters I'm covering. So if you look at it carefully, it is set up in such a way where every athlete who has been training is able to get the best performances out. And I am saying to you, from across all of our schools, I have seen great competitors in all of our schools throughout who have been participating in all of our meets. So trust me, to call it right now, don't call. Just be there. Come support. Of course, you're going to be supporting, but I will say to you, don't make a call. Be a part of the Intercol Experience 2023.
Yeah, well, I said I wanted to leave out Mr. Jeremiah, but it just seems as if there are folks who don't really want to leave him out. Lincoln Deputy is saying, tell Mr. Jeremiah that GBSS wouldn't ease up on PBC for as we did at the recent basketball finals. So it seems as if GBSS wants to take a little revenge from the basketball into the track and field, Mr. Jeremiah.
That is bait. That is bait to draw me in. I'm going to resist the bait. Mr. Deputy, I'm resisting the bait.
Yeah, but
can speak louder than words.
but you do agree, Mr. Jeremiah, that and from your discussions with the principals and the various stakeholders, that there is this air of excitement.
Oh, absolutely, and I want to take a moment here to honor all the principals. Principals have been extremely busy within the last couple months with administrative matters within their schools. We have CSEC exams on the horizon, and there are other internal things that are going on in schools. But in the midst of all of that, I have seen principals really extend themselves to make sure that the athletes are given attention, the coaches and physical education teachers are given attention, and they have been trying to find the resources and create the enabling environment for the athletes to continue to train, continue to develop, and prepare for the big event. So I really want to honor all our principals. Just yesterday, I was speaking to a few of them, and you would visually see that some of them are very tired. But nevertheless, we're going to do what we have to do and ensure that our athletes show up and give a good account of themselves, because this Intercol could very well be a moment when some of these athletes are seen by some of the scouts who will be watching and who would be visiting Grenada for the games. So we definitely have to encourage all of them to give of their best, and may the best team win.
Mm-hmm. While you're at it, Mr. Jeremiah, there's a question regarding the availability of tickets. Where can folks get tickets?
Right. So good question. We have had a little challenge with the timely delivery of the tickets, but we have tickets on GoToFet. We have had tickets on GoToFet from about 2 weeks now, and the ticket sales seem to be picking up. Even this morning, I was checking and I could see, that there is an uptake in the tickets. I suppose the football is finished, so everybody's focused on Intercol now. We're going to have two ticket booths on the days of Intercol. One would be in front of the stadium as you enter the main pavilion gate, and then we'll have another ticket booth in the cricket stadium area. We'll use the cricket stadium ticketing booth. And tomorrow, hopefully we will have some tickets available at Grenadian Optical, because we have been asked by the public to.
That would be Monday instead?
Yeah, Monday afternoon.
Yeah,
some tickets will go on sale. Yeah, sorry, I meant Monday. Monday afternoon, we'll have some tickets go on sale at Grenadian Optical. So what we're trying to do is to create an alternative ticketing purchasing area, so that we ease up the traffic on those booths that we have at the National Stadium.
Okay, so Theo, I think your question being answered. So tickets will be available as early as Monday afternoon. So
those are hard tickets.
Yeah, hard tickets, right? But you can still purchase if you want. You can still purchase tickets online. Getting my ticket because the line does be too long. Yes, we expect that, because some people wait until the day, to get the tickets, and we know. And as Johnell said previously, at Intercol, everyone wants to come on the final day, but you may just be missing out the real action, okay? Because every day counts, and every day has its own excitement. In fact, the first 3 or 4 events are actually a final event. From the first 3 or 4, which are field events, which include, I think, shot put junior, I think long jump, etc., etc. They are final events, So teams are looking for points and maximizing from the word go. Okay?
Yes. Mr. Bascom, I wanted to add one thing. It just came to mind that on day one, I want the public to be aware that we're going to have a very special opening ceremony. I'm not going to tell you what are going to be some of the items on the agenda for the opening ceremony, apart from just the regular mundane things that happen at the opening ceremony. But we have added some attractions, and we have added some attractions not only for day one, but at the intermission and day 2 and on day 3, expect to have some surprises. But the opening ceremony is going to be an opening ceremony that the public has not experienced before. So we don't want the patrons to miss that.
All right, well, that's good to know. And I'm just laughing because someone put a comment there that look like I have to wake up in the stadium. I don't want to Hi, Dale. Dale, good afternoon to you, Dale. That's true. But one of the things, Mr. Jeremiah, I mean, I'm not a part of the committee, but I've always been thinking that it's time, and I hope I'm not busting the bubble, but it's time that the committee consider, and really it's something we spoke about some months ago, recognizing whether past athletes, past officials, I mean, Intercol has become an institution. So to me, it's ready for its own Hall of Fame, Intercol Hall of Fame, I should say.
Right.
And I think it's time that we start recognizing some officials. In fact, I know Cleve Deputy may want to support me on that. Someone like the late, his name slipped me now. Capitan, the official, starting official, who has given, so that's Fitzroy Checkley, right? So many years of officiating at athletics meet in Grenada, and not just the Intercol Championship, not just primary schools, but even the individual schools. He has been the heartbeat of officiating for all these years,
Just
Right.
before
including the likes of the late Clouden and others and things like that. So, but something to that effect, I'm just throwing out.
Just
Yeah.
before Mr. Jeremiah goes on that, Michael, if I may just chime in, Mr. Jeremiah, one of the things, and you're correct, when I came into the sports a number of years ago, I met people like Rado Griffith and Mr. Lambert, Swinton Lambert, and all these guys. These are men, senior men I met officiating, Judy Benoit, and the whole likes of these people. And one of the things I know from my end, what I have seen happening, these people, we have not given them, yes, the kind of recognition that you're talking about, but one of the things I could guarantee you, and I have seen that the Intercol committee has worked on, is issuing season tickets for these people. So they have that that pass where they can come in on any given day, whenever they want, and they're taken care of from that end. So I know we are moving in that direction and we're going to get there. Just wanted to add.
Yes, that's wonderful, because since 2017, we have been strategizing on the best ways to continue to recognize officials and past principals and even athletes, past athletes. You would notice that for some of the intercalls within recent time, we have invited some of the past athletes to come back and be a part of it. Last year, we were very happy to have Alan Francisque and a couple others come, and they were, we were really trying to encourage their presence. But one of the features that we'll have in the opening ceremony will do just that, is honoring somebody. But the question that you're asking is something that is very much in the minds of the planning committee. And if we did not have COVID in 2021, 2019, 2021, you probably would have seen us moving more aggressively in that direction. And I think that is the reason why too, we want to reactivate that old publication that we used to have prior to Intercol, because there are many ways in which you could recognize persons. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be, a public ceremony, but there are ways in which maybe we could write about them. We could put them in our archives. We could honor them so that they become a prominent feature of the archives and the institutional memory of Intercol. So I think Intercol is moving in the direction now of trying to deal with the institutional memory of the games, maybe doing a proper history of the games, having a proper archives, and in the archives you have athletes, you have officials, you have administrators, and try to find a way to memorialize them and to keep them before the eyes of the Grenadian public, because Intercol is part of the patrimony of Grenada, and it's something that we have to not only just protect, but something that we have to build by paying attention to those and honoring those who have contributed, because a lot of persons. I remember in the early days as a young principal, leaving the GBSS auditorium at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, working and preparing for Intercol, and it was a manual process. People
the stencil machine and things like that.
Right, all of that. And I have to
Yeah.
drive over the Granite Tank 2-3 o'clock in the morning. So some people see Intercol, they have been a part of it, but sometimes they don't understand what happens in the background of Intercol. Many, many long nights of preparing, writing things by hand, it's a lot. I mean, so thank God we are in a modern age now where some of those manual things are no longer necessary, and we can do things a lot faster. But these people who did this work, the schools preparing the lunch, the principals preparing the tea, physically being in the kitchen, waiting for the tea to be finished or the lunch to be finished to deliver the games. We can't forget these people. We cannot forget them. So I'm glad you raised the question.
Right. So just some comments, and Rudy, and I'll come to you in a while. So Mr. Bascom, you're not coming for Intercol. I'm a man. I probably just show up. You never know. Yes, Chunks Checkley, thanks for mentioning that, Bass. And Lincoln says Capitan had flair and style. He was like the Muhammad Ali of sports officiating. I mean, sometimes, I mean, they will accuse Capitan of taking away the attention from the athletes, but I mean, it was drama, I enjoyed it, and things like that, with I think he probably was one of the first officials with a broad hat, but he took it very serious, I should say. He took it very serious. And one of the things I noticed about him is that there was instances where, and I saw it on camera as well, where, athletes, he explained to athletes, about the false start, different things. I think it was all a learning process for some of the athletes, things like that. So very much, kudos, well, and may, memory live on. Best principal on island, PDC Cannon, pride will be shining on all 3 days. Dale, I'm with you. I'll be waking up at the stadium, Jeremiah. And Theo said, Mr. Jeremiah, you guys need to commend and honor Mr. Bascom on his role in sports over the years. I'm just doing it for what it is. Thanks, Theo. We need to support out our hero of officiating over the years. Theo seems to be a fan of Mr. Bascom. Yeah, but certainly, Rudian, you have been listening quite a bit there, and I know it's quite. I mean, you understand why it is that, and I think Mr. Jeremiah summarized it best. So many things involved, and there are those who just believe, on the day, show up on the day,
and most definitely.
Yeah, just before you go, just to show you how integral this thing is. Right now, we have guys at the stadium, technical guys at the stadium, putting on my markings and doing everything already. That's what goes into it.
No, and most definitely. I remember when we host last year, I cut my trip short and come back to and head straight to the track from the airport and prepare my long jump pit. I'm putting on my marking and stuff at the track last year out here. So I know it's a lot, and that's why when I was saying a lot of time people don't have a clue what it takes, to host the games or to run a games as big as Intercol, being one of the most biggest event in Grenada. They don't have a clue, and just continue, like I said, continue doing what you're doing. We talk about that so many times. Michael and I talk about, identifying the great ones who are passed on, or even who is there, who is given the time, taking time from their family to be involved in sports, not only in track and field, but in every sport. We have to find a way to acknowledge them. We have to find a way to say thank you. And like I said, thank you doesn't have to be public. It doesn't have to be in a public statement, But I am looking forward to after this intercall, we most likely looking to bring you guys back on, because I know being 50 years next year for our independent, we could tie a lot into Intercol next year with that and make it into something grand as well. So, looking forward to not only this year, but next year and what's happening, because, like I said, 50 years of independent for us is a big thing, and it's an honor, I'm looking forward to be a part of that. So I know you guys are thinking ahead. I know you want to get this one done and over with, but I know you guys also are thinking ahead for next year and what can you do? What can we add? What can we take away? But so far, everything is in place. You guys everything is going to be good. It's going to be smooth. It's going to be smooth, and I believe a lot of people will come and say thank you. And those may not see it now because sometimes they don't see, but everything is going to be smooth, and I believe everything is going to be all right. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to supporting McDonald College of winning Intercol, if I have to say it loud, but just for the athletes, just to compete. It's always good to give back. Like I said, I give him back so much of my time, giving back into the sport, not physically in Grenada where I started, but this is where I'm at now. So I give him back to the sport, saying thank you, and even thank you to Grenada just from giving back, give me the opportunity to even compete for Grenada at the Olympic Games. It's hard physically, like I said, not to give it there, but also just to say thank you. So continue it. Let us see what we can do for those athletes, for those officials that have done in the past, in the near future, that we can say thank you to them for what they have done for the sport in Grenada, for youth sports in Grenada, and let us just have a good games.
Yeah, well, we know that it will be a good championships, and especially in light of the fact that there are, for now, there are no clear runaway winners, and every school has to come on, with their best, and have to do their best, because, there are always those who are there waiting, looking, for, the few points, and can spoil the party, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's not a situation where, oh, it's GBSS already, oh, it's Anakin High School, or it's SAS, or it's this. Everyone, I believe everyone has a chance to win,
Yeah.
and it's just, you come with your
That's
A
what it
game,
is. Yeah.
you should be able to do that.
But
And I mean,
and as good as you are on the day that matters.
but yeah, that's
That's
what I'm
just
saying,
what it is. On the day
because
that matters, right? So yeah.
there's so many things, and there's one thing I want to ask you again, either Mr. Jeremiah or Mr. Mitchell, as it relates to anti-doping, because we had the officials from the anti-doping a few programs ago, and I trying to recall whether or not the whole issue of intersecondary school athletics part of their program, but do we get our athletes tested as well?
Well, Mr. Mitchell could probably speak to that better than I can. But one of the things that I have said to the principals, I actually sent a note to them that it is important that they explain to the athlete what are the procedures and expectations of the anti-doping unit. That if it was the case, of course, if anti-doping was going to come to Intercol, I would know they would just show up. But I think because we are preparing our athletes to compete not only in Grenada but across the region and certainly internationally, there has to be a consciousness about anti-doping, what it is about, what is expected of them, so that we begin to educate them on how important that is, and what are some of the ramifications, the fallout in the event that somebody is tested and the test comes back negative. So that's all I could say about it. But there is always the possibility that something like that can happen. But I will let Mr. Mitchell have the final word on that.
All right, so let me just add my voice to this. I'll walk around when was it last Friday? Yes.
Right.
We've identified the anti-doping area where the people for anti-doping would be stationed, because it was a request that was made that at least a room be ready and prepared for the eventualities of testing and all of that. Now, as Mr. Jeremiah highlighted, it is important that our coaches and our athletes are fully aware as to the significance and the importance of testing in the sport. And a number of these athletes, for example, will be moving on to Carifta. And even at Carifta, some of them will be tested. So there are implications, and we want our athletes to be fully aware of the implications of doping in the sports. And more we try and we seek to sensitize them as to the impact it can have on themselves, their livelihood, and the country as a whole. Because at the end of the day, as we said, it's a product that we are promoting, and we do not want to fall into the trap of having our athletes tested positive for doping issues. You know the kind of implications and the impact it's going to have on us as a country. So these are things we are in tune with, we are sensitive to. And as I said, on the days of Intercol, the anti-doping secretariat will be activated, and I believe also that there will be some form of sensitization going ahead. So it is something that we're definitely looking into. I don't know how aggressive the testing will be, if there will be testing at all, but I would say to you, it will be activated on the day.
As a matter of fact, this is one of the discussions we held with the coaches. I was the one who raised it with the coaches and physical education teachers, that they need to be conscious that anti-doping is part of the procedure in the world of sports in general, not only track and field, but in sports in general. And therefore, we needed to do everything within our power to talk to the athletes begin to educate them as to why this is important and what are the rules that govern anti-doping in certainly in track and field. So we did that with the coaches.
There are a couple things I just want to bring up here. One, Richie Oliver is responding to Michael Sherman comments earlier. He says, we have been doing social media live of athletes for years. Yes, we are not perfect, but the only difference here, we'll be paying for it. No need for transition. And I think there was another comment from Mr. Mike Batiste as it relates to, okay, here it is. He wants to know, will there be any rewards for athletes breaking 25-year-old games record by any chance? Record-breaking performances?
We haven't specifically talked about this, and I don't know if that would be possible in this year's Intercol, but certainly it's something that we, as part of the 50th anniversary celebration of independence in Grenada, is something that we probably could put on the cards to consider, because next year would be a milestone in the history of Grenada, and probably something could be done there. But certainly for this game, we have not given any thought to that.
And Mike is not just asking that out of chance, huh? This is speaking to the quality of the field of athletes that we have, and Mike believes that there's an athlete or athletes who will be doing some damage at Intercol. So that is also who is training there.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a pity we didn't think about that, but it's something that we definitely have to think about going forward as an incentive.
And I know I wanted. I'm giving you all the extra minutes because we want to cover as much as possible a final rate to going into the Intercol, and I want you, whether it's Mr. Mitchell or Brother Jeremiah, to speak on the whole issue of the age. I think prior to coming on air, I spoke to you about that, the issue with the age, but there is, let me see what Dale is saying. Yes, true. From since the late 80s, I can remember Mike and Royal Titus commenting on the games. So that's a lot of years ago. And then Roger Duncan is saying, imagine a Grenada team that combines the best of our Intercol athletes competing against a college at the college games in Canada. Rudian, can this be a possibility? Just thinking big. You never know. You never know. Thank you, Roger, for that comment. But before I go on to the whole issue of the age, I want to put in context, because as indicated, not so much an experiment, but sometimes you have to transition, sometimes you have to adapt, certain things, because when Carifta Games went into the different age category in line with then IAAF age group categories, I think Intercol did something as it relates to the under 21. Are we back to, I think, the under 20s or something like that? So, but before that, the importance of, not just a comment I'm making, the importance of the intersecondary school championships, because I can tell you, for example, and speaking to Mr. Wilkinson, the chairman of the Boys and Girls Champs, right? The principal there, they were making the point that how important Boys and Girls Champ to Jamaica, as in the Grenada case, Intercol, because don't you know that Boys and Girls Champs, highly rated, more people are involved, there are more spectators, more money spent, that even when the professional athletes are competing in Jamaica, there are more people at the stadium watching high school athletes compete than probably watching the then Bolt and Fraser and others compete at the stadium. I used to tell you how highly they recognize and regard their junior athletes, the foundation. And I'm thinking it's the same that should be for Grenada if our athletes are to develop. We have to give them that sort of support at that level, whether it's at the primary school, or the secondary schools. Kirani James and Rondell Bartholomew and Anderson Peters just didn't become a professional athlete. They came through from the primary schools, the secondary school, and they competed at Intercol, you know. So I think we need to continue to give our young athletes that sort of support, you know, and there are those who sometimes just thinking about the mega events and things like that. So, but for them to get to the mega events, we have to get them the support at that level. Okay, that's the point I wanted to make here. But going back to the age, I think John, you might be in a position, I don't know if to respond to that, or Mr. Jeremiah, how in regards to the changing of the age categories over the years, affecting the whole issue of records and things like that. Someone who broke a record or set a record in in the under 21 category, and then the following year, I just using an example, we gone back to the under 20. You know, how that sinking?
Michael, and you're correct. We believe that there is a standard that we need to maintain, and working along with the Principals Association through the leadership of Mr. Jeremiah over the years, one of the things that we've recognized, and I think Mr. Jeremiah may speak to that, is that we need to be able to set something and stick to it and work with it. As you've rightly said, over the years, we've moved across a number of categories from prep, because we experimented with the prep category. We've experimented with the under 21 category, and we were up, down, and all over the place. And the decision has been made that we need to decide where we want to be and what we're going to do. And so the principals, looking into the schools, looking at what's happening with them, looking at the age of entry for most of our students and the age of living schools. And they've also recognized that, look, where we are in a position where it's basically an under 20 games. So we have decided to come together and make that decision where the games are going to be an under 20 games. If you want to appreciate it, likewise, last year, the prep category was removed, all right? No, it was a part of it last year, I believe, but the other years we had the prep. But when we did an investigation in the schools, we realized that a lot of the schools, yes, while they may have one prep or two preps who are good athletes, they had to fight to complement them with some other athletes who were not at that level. So what we've done from our end of it, we've said to those schools, you can maintain all of the categories that you intend to ensure that all of the students in your school participate throughout. So if you want to keep the prep, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to Intercol, we've said we're going to go with three categories, basically, which is or under 15s or under 17s and or under 20s, which is sub-junior, junior, and senior. So a strong prep in a case like that can definitely make your sub-junior team and be highlighted and can be seen, but we're not neglecting them. Likewise with the under 20 category, as I said, we do not have much of the athletes. Maybe if there is any, maybe just one or two schools may have one or just maybe two athletes in that category. Now, we cannot just create a category for just one athlete or two athletes, all right? While, yes, it might be something harsh and hard to say, but at the end of the day, we want to ensure that the playing field is level throughout for everyone so that all of our athletes will be able to compete with such form of equality moving forward. So when it comes to records and all of that, I trust our coaches. This is what I'm going to answer this question. I trust our coaches, and I believe that they've been doing some exceptional jobs. So someone setting on the 21 record, which is, and it still falls under that category of senior. So because of how we have the category, it is, well, it was on under 21, but it was senior. So records are broken as sub-junior, junior, senior.
And senior. Right.
All right. So whether or not you're under 21 or you're under 20, it is seen as a senior. So what record would be broken? It would be the senior record and not an under 21 record. So to answer it in short, it's basically that. I don't know if Mr. Jeremiah wants to add some more voice to it.
No, yeah, I think you said it. The last point you made is a critical point, because we do have not many students in our secondary schools who fall into the senior category that might be just a little bit beyond the under 20, but they're in secondary school. And therefore, I think the reasonable thing to do is that you don't cut them off, because maybe if about 4 or 5 athletes, you don't cut them off because they are seniors. They're technically seniors. There's no other category that they could run in. All right. But the bulk of the students who are in the secondary school, from our own research and data, is showing that most of them are, under 20. But you will have a few who are just beyond the under 20. Now, having said that, I don't think that is going to affect the records in any way. It shouldn't affect the records because we're dealing with a category of under 20, under 21. That's the category we're dealing with. So I think what Mr. Mitchell articulated is precisely my position, and I trust the coaches. I think what we did with the prep many years ago was to try to create a kind of developmental age, so when they came into secondary school, they could begin to participate as soon as possible in track and field, so that we didn't lose them. They didn't lose interest. But when we analyze it, we realize that if a good athlete comes into Form 1, more than likely they're going to compete in the sub-junior division, and in to their advantage, that competition probably will happen for 2 years, not just 1 year. In some instances, it might be 1 year, depending on how old they come into the secondary school, but they could have the advantage of being in that category for 2 years. And I think we've thought about the categories a lot, and I think we've settled on that. And as I look at junior championship around the world, that is like the standard, under 20, under 17, under 15. I've been looking at some championships in Australia and in New Zealand and other parts of the world, junior championships, and that seemed to be the standard, So I'm comfortable with that, and I think we're on the right track.
Right. Well, nice to hear that, and I'm hoping that probably just as how we were advocating for the inclusion of the private primary schools in the National Primary School Championships, I'm hoping that one day we can advocate for the athletes of the tertiary institution like KMR Community College and in the under 20 category, category to participate, because we coined the name Intercol already, so we don't really have to do much changes. We already call it Intercol, so we can bring them in as a team. But by way of information, Mr. Jeremiah, I don't know if you have it or Johnell, give us again the names of the schools participating, girls and boys participating. And I think you included some new schools that will be participating.
Right. So the regular roster of schools include and I'm starting from the north, come down, McDonald College, the Seventh-day Adventist Comprehensive, Grenada Christian Academy, SAS, GSS, Grenville Secondary School, St. Joseph's Convent, St. Andrews. Going down towards St. David's, we have St. David's Catholic, Westerhall Secondary. Well, Beacon High is technically in the mix. I'm not sure whether they're going to have a team this year, but they're certainly registered to the association. Then you have the Anglican High School, the Grenada Boys Secondary School, Wesley College, Presentation College, Boca, Happy Hill Secondary, St. Rose Modern.
You mentioned Westmoreland and St. George's Institute and the Gateway Christian Academy in St. George.
St. George's Institute and Gateway, I was leaving them for last as the new ones, but we could include them here. And then we have Shaper, St. John's Christian, St. Max. I think that's about it. You should have about 20.
And schools in Carriacou?
And then the two schools in Carriacou, Hillsborough and Bishops. So for the first time in the history of the games, we will have 25 schools accredited to the association to participate in the games, who can participate in the games.
25. Okay, yeah. Right. It's Grenada Christian Academy is the one in St. Andrew, right?
The one in St. Andrews, correct.
Okay.
The principal is Mr. Kurt Christopher, yes.
Okay, so that's right. Right. We have the two in, right. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Gentlemen, quite a while. We have been chatting. You have been giving us quite a bit of information. Rudian, anything from your end? And before we get some final words.
By the way, I didn't mention St. Joseph's Convent, St. George's.
Okay.
So that I don't get in trouble.
Right. But did you mention the presentation?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, because I just wanted to make sure that you didn't leave them out.
I would definitely get in trouble for that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Rudian?
Yeah, I mean, gentlemen, it was such a good honor to be with you guys. And it's always a pleasure speaking to you, Mr. Jeremiah. There's just this joy about you just being in your presence. So because of track and field, and I mean, and knowing you through track and field, and it is the heartbeat of me. So it's a joy to see that, you know, it is very serious, and you guys are taking it serious as much as I take it serious. Mr. Technical Director, just a quick question: Is there a hits and a finals for every single track event?
The up to the 400s. Up to the 400s, we have
up to the 400. So you do have more. And I do have a question, but for the next time we meet, because it's not relevant to now. It's more of a bigger and deeper question in terms of having more of a qualifying standard or top 24 to qualify. You know, that's what we do out here. We do top 24, right? Instead of every school bring a team.
Let me answer.
You know,
let me answer this way.
You can answer that question.
I can answer that question. I can answer this. As a matter of fact, that discussion was held on at a technical meeting. This is something that it's definitely a direction we're moving into. A matter of fact, even from the GAA's perspective, that's one of the things that we're planning to also institute through our developmental meets. So when you come to the day, you have a quality feel coming out. So we're trying to do the same thing for Intercol, and standards come next year, especially in the field events. Standards would be what you're going by. That's one of the areas we already bring.
Is it you going by standard, or you're going by the best 24 in the nation?
No, we're going to start off with standards. We're going to get to the best. We will get to the best, but we're starting off with standards.
But I'm hoping that, because Rudian is speaking from a point where they have numbers, they have volume. I'm hoping that in our situation, we do not negate some of our athletes because we don't have that sort of numbers.
True, Michael.
Yes.
True,
So
but what
while that is so,
what I've noticed, Michael, and I'm having a greater appreciation for standards even now. As I've said, Grenada standards for the character trials is probably one of the highest and hardest to make in the Caribbean region. And I think you know that. Yeah? But when we look at the number of athletes who have made that standard or come very close to the standard, it speaks to what's happening in the coaching system. So I believe that's why I said I believe in our coaches right now and the clubs that we have. I think they are working towards it. So setting standards is only going to cause us to improve on the quality of performances that we have there. And in the long run, the nation is going to benefit.
And as much as you want to say that go up to another, and I know, like, again, we're having a great conversation. That go back to another topic we had before, is having meets at the national stadium. Because it's more standardized than having meet. Like, for example, McDonald College is running on the grass. It's a 300-meter track. Not only them, there are other schools who are also in the same predicament.
So let me say this to you.
Does that means that? Yeah.
Let me say this to you, and that's an important point. What we've seen, and you'll find me keep linking it to the Athletics Association, because McDonald College, for example, SAS, and a number of the schools in the outer parishes, what you've noticed, throughout the year, they have participated in a number of the developmental meets that we've been putting on. So they've been coming and they've been a part of it. So the synthetic track, they're being able to put performances in these areas right there at the national stadium, so we can start getting from them. All right, so they kind of have an idea as to where they are on those surfaces as compared to the grass and all of that. So it's helping out. It's something we're moving in the right direction.
Okay, that's very good. No, it's good. And I ask, but it's good to know, because we have discussion about those things, So it's good. And the reason why I go back to asking you if it's standard or top 24 is because for example, if you look long jump let's use junior for an example, you might have 10 of them have the standard. And that's why I ask, are you going the best X amount, or you going with a flat out standard? That was the question. Yeah.
Standard.
Okay.
And it's amazing that you make the long jump, because that comment came from one of the long jump chiefs that we had and the referee for the long jump, and some of the issues that came out of it. So yeah, so I think we're on par. We're on par there.
All right. So, Mr. Mitchell, I give you the floor for your final comments, and then followed by Brother Jeremiah.
Intercol 2023, Republic Bank, Intercol 2023. Speaking from the technical aspect of it, we are striving to ensure that we have all measures in place, as I have indicated. Right now, even at the stadium, we have our technical people starting to lay the field and the infield for competition. The coaches and the entries, we're working feverishly to ensure that we have everything ready for them, for we can give them the packages as they arrive at the stadium Monday morning. Of course, they will have it electronically before, but they had copies and all of that to make sure that we have it available to them. Our officials, we've met with them, and they know the expectations and the quality that go into it. And from where I sit, I know that the level of competition on the field is going to be great. The times, you'll be impressed with the number of times, because when we have athletes right now on the 20 category, I think we have a young man running 10.6 or something like that. We've had some really good times there. As I spoke to the sub 22 times again in the under 20, and even in the under 17 with Ethan, Sam, and the others, we've seen some blistering times there. So I expect some quality coming out. As we've said to the public, we have 3 days of competition, 3 days of final events every single day, both track and field. To those of you in the diaspora, I would say to you, get your pay-per-view package, and it's relatively cheap. On day 1, it's $7.99 US. Day 2, $7.99 US. Day 3, $12.99, I believe they're about, through tizik.com. And there's also the season ticket on, which is $25 US. So be a part of something exciting. Be a part of history in the making, because I believe that Intercol 2023 will be history in the making. And the quality that we're going to put out there, and I can speak to it because I know who we have working with us, and I've seen a number of them throughout the year. I believe it's going to be something really good. So let's be a part of such great events. It's a part of us. It's a part of nation building. Let's be a part of it.
Yep, I fully agree with that. And folks, in case you can buy the packages, because just in case you're not there to look at it live, seeing as it's pay-per-view, it means that you can always go back and check on it, because it's pay-per-view. Video, I call it video on demand, VOD, right? So, Mr. Jeremiah, and before I go to you, someone asking the question, and I think you might be in a position to answer. What's the price for the women's school at Intercol?
I know we had made some adjustments to that. I don't want to say something on air and I'm wrong. Because of the adjustments, I don't remember the sum. So let me not say anything here.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Right? Just as a matter of being safe. Yeah.
Yeah. Your final comment?
Yeah, my final comment. I think we have already established that Intercol is part of the patrimony of Grenada. Intercol is about education, it's about youth development, it's about economics, it's about creating opportunity for our young people. And a lot of persons have contributed to that, to bring it to where it is now. And on behalf of the principals and on behalf of the Grenada Secondary School Games Association, we truly want to thank all those who have been a part of that, the media, the police, the officials. And I want to express a special thanks to the official. And Mr. Mitchell has been on the circuit for the last few months, working with us. And I don't want to forget him, because he makes a lot of sacrifices, both family sacrifices and even professional sacrifice, to be a part of this. And I really want to honor him and thank him for this. But today I remember one official in a special way. I don't know why she came to my mind, and I want to honor her. She, among many others who have done a great job at the Intercol over the year. Ms. Dubois, who used to teach at St. Joseph's Convent and was maybe one of the single most important announcers, house announcers for many, many years. She's not enjoying the best of health, but I want to remember her in a special way because she gave yeoman service for many, 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 many years to Intercol. And all those officials, both on the field and everywhere else, who serve Intercol, the medical staff. Ms. Sonia Phillip has been doing a marvelous job with her team from the hospital. We cannot forget her. And all those who work, all those who serve, all those athletes who have performed over the years. As we are at the eve of the 55th edition of Intercol 2023. I just want to express gratitude to everybody, all those who are working behind the scenes to make sure that Intercol is a success. We do it because of love of country and love of our children, love of our young people. That's why we do it, so that at the end of the day, Grenada will benefit. So thank you for having me on the program. Thank you, Mr. Bascom and Mr. Sullivan, for your encouragement and your insights. And we really value this program, and it's a pleasure to have been here.
Okay, then. I want to thank you, gentlemen. Always a pleasure. And certainly, I want to thank Mr. Mitchell as well, because it's first time on our program. Mr. Jeremiah has been around, and I think you all did, the honors. And I'm certain that folks will have learned quite a bit today, and looking forward to the excitement in the next couple hours, I should say. I want to put it in hours, because as early as Tuesday morning, is it 9 a.m. or 10 a.m.? 9 a.m. Oh, wow. I'll be in my neck of the woods. I'll be sleeping still, but that's all right. I'll try to get up as early as possible that day. But I'm looking forward to the keen rivalry, and as we say, as we don't say, everyone has to bring their best. They have to come with the A game, and we just want, from our point, we just want to encourage our athletes to do their best. And while we have our biasness in terms of supporting teams, what we want is for keen rivalry, exciting competition. Ultimately, we want to see our athletes excel, and if they can give some great performances, whichever school you represent, kudos to you, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited. In fact, Mr. Jeremiah, you were speaking about the website, and for those who were, asking the question, and you're saying over the next few days leading up to Intercol, more information will become available, right, on the website?
That's correct.
Right. Okay. So,
and while I'm here too, I wanted to express our special thanks to our title sponsor, Republic Bank.
Certainly.
And also the government of Grenada, through the Ministry of Sports and the NLA and other sponsors for their support.
Right. So, folks, remember you can check the link. It's intercol.gd, and it's a work in progress. You can get some of the information there, and they're hoping to have information and some possibly some live results, not live streaming, live results. I think it's live results. The live is results, not streaming, on the website, which is good, so that folks can, log on to the website and get up-to-date information in terms of, and those two in the context of, even though we may have the commentators providing information, for example, in the field events, let's look at the javelin throw, for example, such results will obviously have, first attempt, second attempt, third attempt, et cetera, more detailed information, and in some instances, track events, win readings, all these sort of things. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. I still don't know if I'll be there, but if I do, I'll just show up. Yeah, I like to do those things. But all the best, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yes, and we hoping at some
Yeah.
point to have you again to speak about probably a postmortem of the championships, and the way forward. Because as Ruben says, 2024 is a very important year for Grenada and should also be an important year. I think Intercol can also play its part in the whole patriotism, for that year in general. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very much. It's
Yeah,
good
it's
to
been
have
a pleasure. It's been a pleasure
Yeah.
being here.
Sullivan. Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's a pleasure being with you guys. It's an honor being in your presence.
It's good to be here. Thank you. Good to be with you all.
Okay then. Thank you very much. Yeah. All right then. So there you had it from our officials, Mr. Dominic Jeremiah, Mr. Johnell Mitchell, and folks coming, I think, not the following week, because the following week will be Carifta Games, and that Saturday in particular. Who will want to have a program when our athletes competing? So I don't think we'll have a program on that Saturday, which is the Saturday for the Carifta Games, which I think is the 8th of April. We will not have a program on the 8th of April. The first, which is coincidentally All Fools Day, I think, we should have a program, which is next Saturday. And that, so I look forward to your company once again. It's always been a pleasure, and I want to again thank Brother Jeremiah and Mr. Johnell Mitchell for joining us on the program. Certainly brought a lot to the fore. I think it was one of our programs where we had so much information available, and we touched on so many areas. And yet for all, we still didn't get all that we wanted to talk about. But I thought Mr. Mitchell brought a lot in terms of the technical aspect. Mr. Jeremiah, as usual, they bring in the whole fray of things. There were a lot of let me get some of those comments before I just wrap up there. There was. Can we have the website? Take about Mr. Mitchell, love and blessings. Yes, quite a bit. Good luck on let me see, goal looks best on the green vest. The winner is decided Bascom. We're only waiting on the also run. Edwin Sam from New Jersey is actually saying the site looks good. I agree that the site, I took a look at it, and it's a work in progress. And I find it's looking good, and I believe once the information is available and they can continue to, update it, and it's not just, as far as I'm concerned, it's not just a site for, this championships. It's something in going forward, that they can always put information. So it will eventually be as, a resource, for information on Intercol, past winners, point standings, results, etc. So come probably 2024, 2025, someone will be able to go on the website and get information that they need. So I think kudos to the organizers for ensuring that we have some sort of presence, an online presence for the Intersecondary School Athletics Championships, and I'm looking forward to following all the information. I already see something with past games and archives, the results, teams. So certainly, even for the broadcasters or media folks covering the championships can probably go onto the website to get information, and things like that. So hopefully they'll be able to put some photos, audiovisual, some photos, get in touch with some of the photographers. Certainly, they probably have photographers working along with them. I will probably want to recommend people like Jazel, Sylvester, and even Haran Photo. Get them involved. They do, take some quality photos and, contract them, get their photos and things like that. You can get the rights from Mr. Olivier regarding some nice video production. So, after Intercol, something exciting about, relive, there probably a relay event, for example, after the fact, you can always put it up there. I'm certain that, if someone sees that coach or some scout sees that they might want to get in touch with the school or the athlete, etc., etc. There's so many possibilities coming out of that, and I want to thank the organizers for that. I'm looking at the website now. Yeah, it's the logo, everything. It looks good. I agree with that. Main pavilion, day 1, day 2, day 3, $15, $20, and $30. So you can get that. So just before I wrap up, just a quick reminder of you of really what to expect on Intercol that starting on Tuesday the 28th. So if you haven't as yet, you can buy your tickets, season ticket, in fact. And for those of you in the diaspora in particular, you can get your pay-per-view subscription. You can get it there.
Grenada's premier junior track and field event is here again with a bang. The Republic Bank Inter-Secondary School Championship is back at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. You cannot afford to miss the intense rivalry amongst all our secondary school athletes on the field and in the track. It's Republic Bank Intercol 2023. The 55th Intercol Championship takes place on March 28th, March 29th, and March 30th, starting at 9 a.m. and ending 6 p.m. each day. Be there to experience the special attractions and more. Main pavilion, Day 1, $15. Day 2, $20. Day 3, $30. Season tickets at $60. Secondary stand, Day 1, $10. Day 2, $15. Day 3, $25. Bleachers, Day 1, $5. Day 2, $10. And Day 3, $15. Season tickets, $25. Children under 12, $15. Main pavilion, and $5. Secondary pavilion. Tickets will be available at the gate and from GoToFest. It's the 55th Intercol Championships. Bring your school, bring your past students, bring your families to 3 days of competitive track and field. You will not forget this one. Be there.
Yes, be there. I want to be there, boy. Yeah. Thank you very much, all you folks. Theo, always a pleasure having you. My biggest fan, Theo Duncan. Yeah. And Alison Tisha George. Oh, wow, that's a George. It has to be St. David's Catholic Secondary School. Well, I know the trash talking will start as early as this weekend, whether it's St. David's, whether it's SAS, whether it's GBSS, PDC, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, we'll have the trash talking. For me, I want to see good track and field. That's what I want. I mean, I have my bias, as I always say. I support my school, but ultimately, I want to see good track and field. I'm supporting good track and field. Thank you very much, folks. Always a pleasure. It is my penultimate program here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm looking forward to seeing my homeboy shortly. That's Kirani, hang with the times, blah, blah, blah. Probably we'll go and do some bowling this weekend. You never know, and things like that. So, but always a pleasure being with you, talking sports. That is what I like to do, chatting about the sports, talking about our sportsmen and women, talking about the development of our sporting infrastructure, etc., etc. Thank you very much. Jenny, thank you. Thank you, Theo. Thank you, Toro, Clev, Roger, all the folks, Kellon from earlier, all the folks who made it possible. Michael Sherman, I'll be at you sometime over the weekend. We have to talk a little more, and things like that. So thank you very much. And by the way, folks, yes, I think I put up some comments regarding the football game last night. Again, I'm saying, who expected Grenada to beat the USA? But at the same time, shouldn't be, bashing our sportsmen and sportswomen. What is important, and I always say, it's always good to see the large crowd coming out for these mega events, the international events. But I also want to see those folks coming out for the local games. Whether it's Paradise playing Hurricane or Queens Park Rangers or Carnage, I want to see. That's how we have to start supporting our sportsmen and women, even at that level. That's the only way we will encourage them and appreciate, rather. That's the word I want to use. Appreciate, the sacrifice many of them are making, right? Even at an amateur level to get into the professional, It was, I would say, a disappointing score, 7-1, But when you consider, the USA as just coming out from the World Cup, fresh from the World Cup, I would say, you consider just every single US player playing at the professional league and the highest level, whether it's West Ham, Chelsea, blah, blah, things like that. So you could understand the ranking of the USA as well, I will only continue to support our sportsmen and women, support the strengthening of technical, aspect of sports in Grenada, whether it's football, track and field, cricket, etc. And encourage our officials, our administrators, to provide the avenue for our young talented players, because sometimes we forget that we have to start somewhere. And one of the ways we can start is ensuring that there is a pathway for the development of our players, the investment of our youth, the investment in youth, the investment in sports among young people in particular, giving them these opportunities. I remember people chastising, sending our young girls to play in regional tournaments and and things like that. So, and even our age group boys and things like that. So, but listen, when the USA and Canada and then started playing football at these age, I mean, Mexico and Costa Rica and these teams were pouncing on them, But it takes a while. That was the investment, and they never gave up, and they continue to invest in the development, the grassroots level, and giving them the opportunity to, to compete, to participate when it's available, and that's the only how they can start gauging their level. And I think one of the things with Grenada is that, Grenada needs to play as a unit among more and play, often in friendlies among quality teams. That's the only how they can develop, and not just a competition. Because remember, leading up to this game, and that was one of the concerns I raised, you're playing against St. Lucia and Barbados. I mean, come on, that's not a serious gauge to see a team and as a unit. And mind you, even when they played those games, the bulk of the players they used were local players. So it still wasn't as a unit, and having your players 2 and 3 days before. When the United States preparing for these competitions, they bring their players together before, have them in a big camp. They go to sometimes Los Angeles, they come here to Phoenix sometimes, depending on the time of the year, and these sort of things. They bring them into a camp. They go to Orlando, all these places. And, we have to move to that level, especially if we want to compete at that level and compete against these bigger teams. We can't be playing against St. Vincent and St. Lucia and in preparation to go and play against the United States and El Salvador and Mexico and these teams. No, we can't be doing that. We have to start playing against quality teams, getting our best players available, and when there's a FIFA window, ensuring that they can continue playing as a unit, and that's the best way I think our technical officials will be able to gauge our players, the quality of our players, what needs to be done, etc., etc. Not that you have a group of local guys playing against Barbados, playing against St. Lucia, and then 2 or 3 days before your big game against the USA, you bring in the other, international guys to gel into a team. I don't say that won't work. That won't work, But if you continue to play and engage in international friendlies as a unit and things like that over a period of time, and then you can also get some of your young talented players. You're creating opportunities for even your local players because you're giving them more exposure at the higher level. Yeah. So I'm not really bashing. I will continue to support. I see a lot of folks on social media taking to social media and bashing our team. We have this mentality where we always want to win and win and win, and we're not looking at the bigger picture and analyzing, and things like that. So who expected the Grenada to beat the USA? I mean, I would have liked that, and it would have been a bonus. And I'm certainly disappointed with the scoreline, okay? But we have to look and conceptualize, and things like that, and continue to support. Continue to support, I would say, and encourage. Thank you very much, folks. That's all for this weekend. See you another time. I hope to speak to you, and be safe for the weekend. And as I always say, continue to support our sportsmen and sportswomen. Just continue to give them the support. Until then, have a pleasant day.